Just wanted to talk, that's all.
And we are back in our very same outfits because very little time has elapsed. You know, we both have a closet full of the same shirt, like Superman. All right, TK. This episode, continuation of what we were talking about with Cashman. Who will he go out and get for the pitching staff? Because we're going to be down a little bit in terms of starting pitching to start the season. I mean, was Yarbrough the move, right? I mean, will they go out and they get one of these Japanese guys? Will they get Imai as a starting pitcher? We're going to talk about Clark Schmidt. We're going to talk about Gerrit Cole, whether he can bounce back. And we're going to talk about the bullpen makeover that is coming because the Yankees just let some guys go. And we're going to talk a little bit about prospects, specifically pitching prospects. So what do you say we start with a little bit of rotation talk here, TK? Let's pull up the starting pitching. So here's where we stand. Max Fried will be entering his age 32 season, 19-5 last year, phenomenal season. Cam Schlittler will be 25. He was 4-3 with a 2.96. I can't wait to talk more about him. I can't wait to watch him pitch again, dude. Like how great was Cam Schlittler this year?
Electric. I mean, he was that spark that they needed at that point of the season. It's kind of like when they brought up I think it was 2023 when they brought up Oswaldo, and he kind of had a little bit of a spark to the team. Sometimes that can happen when you bring up a young guy, but
yeah.
And then goes without saying, but the playoff start against the Red Sox will really just propel his career into, if he goes out there. And man, it's hard not to have big expectations. I'm trying to be fair. Like if he had a mid-3 ERA this season, like I'd be very happy with that if he made all his starts. But if he has a sub-3 ERA with all 30 starts made, all 32 starts made with a sub-3 ERA, we're talking about a potential like legend in the making now. With a guy who pitched as well as he did against the Red Sox in the playoffs, as young as he is. If he comes out there and he establishes himself as like a top 10 pitcher in the game, like a top 10 young pitcher in the game, we got something here.
He looked every bit like a young Felix Rodriguez. I mean, that's who he kind of reminded me of towards the end there. Luis Gil, this will be his age 28 season. It's hard to believe that, but 4-1 with a 3.32 ERA. To me, I'm considering trading Luis Gil this winter if I have to, even though the Yankees are a little bit light on pitching. The control issues worry me. And he's a guy who still has a great fastball, but I worry about his health. I worry, I'm not 100% certain that he's going to. I know he's like the real deal in terms of the arm, right? He's a big league arm, but I'm not. His lack of improvement with command is starting to worry me a little bit. Ryan Yarbrough, that was a nice pickup, I think. How'd you feel about the Yarbrough situation?
Yeah, it's funky. I mean, I like it because it's versatile. He can start, he can spot start, he can come in long relief. He can just do an inning of work. He's got like a funky release. It's a different look. And also I like that he's on the Yankees because whenever the Yankees faced him, they couldn't do anything against him. So that solves that problem too.
Yeah. And then Will Warren, I mean, he outperformed my expectations of him last year, but I still think that he's not like a champion caliber pitcher at this point. Maybe he'll surprise us this year. We do have Chase Hampton coming back, top prospect. We've got Carlos Rodon, who had a great year, but is going to begin the season on the shelf. He had some loose bodies removed from his elbow. And then Gerrit Cole coming back from Tommy John surgery, expected back probably sometime in May. And that's what I want to talk about next. Let's talk a little bit about Gerrit Cole. What are you expecting from him next year? I mean, knowing that sometimes guys come back from Tommy John and just struggle out of the gate. I mean, Sandy Alcantara, right? I mean, he was not the same. Gerrit Cole is a guy who knows how to pitch. He's going to be throwing strikes. He's going to, he's going to be a pitcher. Can he win with a recovering elbow?
Yeah, I think, look, I'm not expecting him to go out there and win the Cy Young, but I'm expecting him to be reliable. Take the ball, when he's healthy, take the ball every start and just give you a solid outing pretty much every time. I don't even need you to go out there and be an ace. I think 2 or 3 starts of him being an ace would be really nice, but at this point in his career, he's a professor. He's the leader of that staff. He's a student of the game. I really just kind of expect him to be, I think reliable is the good word. Takes the ball, gives you a nice start, 5-6 innings of work with like 2-3 runs given up, and then hands it off to the bullpen. And if you get a nice little 2-3 starts of vintage Cole, fantastic.
Now, if he's coming back in, let's say, May, when would you expect to see like full strength Garrett Cole? Right? I mean,
Mid-June.
when?
Mid-June.
Mid-June, really? That fast? I would have said, if you're asking me, I would say mid-August, mid to late August, which not necessarily a bad thing because then he's like clicking on all cylinders in the most important games of the season, right? Going down the stretch and in the postseason. And just seeing him ramp it up in the bullpen right now and starting to throw again, it made me feel good because I really missed watching him every fifth day last year. We talked about Cashman in yesterday's episode, which was actually 5 minutes ago. And I think his white whale was a good one, right? Picking Garrett Cole as that player to fixate on, that I'm going to get him in pinstripes eventually. He drafted him. That was a good draft pick, even though he didn't sign. Like that was like there was a predicting the long-term potential of somebody. He might be the best player other than Aaron Judge that he's ever drafted, even though he didn't sign.
Yeah. Because that was in high school. He elected to go to UCLA. So it's hard to look at a high school player, unless you're a Bryce Harper. It's like a can't miss. But, it's hard to look at a guy who's in high school and know that they're going to become that. But I only say mid-June just because I have confidence that Cole, again, being a student of the game, I'm sure he's called a bunch of guys that he knows in the league about recovering from TJ, the surgery, what their experience was. I think also he got that surgery where they did a little bit differently now, where
the brace procedure.
The brace procedure. So I just have confidence in him kind of doing his due diligence and also like scouting. I think every time a guy gets in the box against him, he knows exactly what to do against them. He's not guessing up there. He's kind of like, I think the catcher's going to call the game, but they're sort of in sync. And I think just Cole knows exactly what to do. And he's not going to throw 100 anymore, but it's kind of like CeCe at the end of his career. He had a bit of that transitionary phase where he wasn't blowing guys away anymore and he wasn't that good. And then he kind of reworked his game a little bit and he became a lot more effective, just kind of changing speeds and locating. And to me, I think Cole will kind of make that transition seamlessly because he had that coupled with the overpowering stuff. Like he had both. So that's why he was so unbelievable. But I still think he can be very effective. Frankly, I kind of expect him to age like Justin Verlander did when he went to the Astros. Like, I do think he's going to age like fine wine like that. And Verlander's a guy that's got Tommy John, I think, twice in his career at the end of his career. So I'm really expecting Garrett Cole to be solid, reliable. Those are the two words I would use.
My dream scenario is a rotation where in the postseason, you've got a fully healthy and clicking on all cylinders mid-season form Garrett Cole. You've got the young power of Cam Schlittler. You've got Carlos Rodon, who maybe hasn't pitched a full season and has some gas left in the tank. And, of course, Max Fried. He's going to have to carry the load a little bit with these guys out, but maybe, you give him a mid-season rest, right? If we got a prospect that's tearing it up, maybe you say, we're sitting him down with a little tightness in the hamstring, like they used to do for Nestor Cortez, right? When every year he would get that 2 weeks in Bermuda, Phantom IL. You're not supposed to do that, but if he's having to carry the load, you have to watch Fried because he's had some injuries in the past as well. If he has to carry the load early on, once Garrett Cole is back, once Carlos Rodon is back, dog days of summer come. I have no problem with them putting him on the 10 or 15-day IL, letting him miss a couple of starts, and then seeing what Carlos Legrand can do, right? Or seeing what Chase Hampton can do. Just getting a look at one of those guys, and then maybe using one of those guys, like if you're not 100% confident in them, but they look decent, maybe you use them in a trade, right? And that type of thing, a showcase. So I want to talk about Schlittler. I want to just focus on him more because when I think of 2025, and I said this before, it's going to be the year that Cam Schlittler announced his presence with authority. Now, if you had asked me which rookie this year I would have been most excited about, I would have told you it's Jason Dominguez, right? I mean, I'm the biggest Jason Dominguez stan there is. But Cam Schlittler successfully won me over. I'm unveiling some Schlitt merch later on in the week, hopefully probably Black Friday.
Mm.
And to me, this guy, he reminds me of like a young Clemens or a young Felix Rodriguez. Just not only the overpowering fastball, but the overpowering size to go with it. And he already is a better strike thrower than somebody like Luis Gil or even Carlos Rodon for that matter. This is a guy who pounds the zone, who knows where it's going, and does it at 100 to 101. He threw the fastest pitches by a Yankee all year, like the top 50 fastest pitches or something like that. And then that game with the Red Sox, the attitude that he showed. I know you were listening to it in your car, stuck in LA traffic, but
I caught the end of it. I caught the end of it. All right.
this was TK's reaction to that. Had to miss it. Anyway, that was one of the more fun games that I've had in my life watching baseball. Now I'm working on a book called Pinstripe Therapy, where I'm talking about like my favorite memories of watching baseball. It's been delayed because I've had just a ton of stuff going on at work, and my hope is to release it after Christmas sometime. I was going to release it as soon as the season ended, but maybe after Christmas. I'm still working on it, and I have earmarked a section on Cam Schlittler because that game, that experience, was one of the best pitching performances I've ever seen. As somebody who really values pitching and is a huge pitching fan, a nut who spotlights pitching in every podcast, I couldn't be higher on this guy. I think he is a potential Cy Young winner. I think he's an all-star next year. I think he's a 200-plus strikeout guy right now. And if he stays healthy, sky's the limit, man. I worry about his health because, guys, the fastball came from out of nowhere. He was throwing 95, 96. All of a sudden he's throwing 100. It makes you wonder if he's pushing himself. But if the arm holds up, this guy's going to absolutely be a beast. Sure thing.
Yeah. I mean, that could have just been also the juice of like the adrenaline of being up, but they could have tweaked something mechanically. I think with him, the key is going to be like developing the secondary pitches. Obviously, the fastball is there, right? And he can throw, he can change it up, throw a sinker, cutter, and stuff like that. But, if he develops like a really good changeup or a really good slider, I think the changeup would be key for him, especially with the cutter, because his cutter breaks so much. If he can develop that pitch and throw for strikes and keep guys kind of honest, we're talking about, like a low 2s ERA at that point. That would be like ridiculous. As he is right now, if he's just what we saw last season and he pitches a full year and he's healthy, I would expect like a low 3s. But again, if he develops and develops a secondary pitch, I think we can start getting into the 2s and start talking about,
sick.
Best stuff in the game, sick kind of stuff. Health is going to be the biggest thing, like it is with all pitchers. But I think the biggest key with Schlittler is it makes some of the guys expendable. It makes Luis Gil expendable if you want to trade him. I guess Clark Schmidt, he's not healthy, but if you wanted to trade him and go with Gil instead, or if you wanted to trade a Will Warren, because you do have a guy like LeGrand Hay, who's I think a double-A, but guy's an absolute beast, 6'7", 248. So another Schlittler, honestly. He's a little bit heavier than Schlittler, but another just beast guy. So only 22. So they got really nice depth in the pitching department. So I think Schlittler does allow them to explore an opportunity of trading a Luis Gil for something.
And one thing you see with guys is you see the metrics get better as they become, more professional. They get in the lab. They figure out how to make the spin rate better, how to pitch around the barrel a little bit better. So his metrics, he's already above average in fastball, basically, and strikeout percentage, and then average in a lot of other things and below average in some areas. And he was still in 14 starts, 4-3 with a 2.96 ERA and 84 strikeouts in 73 innings. So if this guy takes that next step, I think you're right. I think he's a Cy Young caliber pitcher. All right, I want to talk a little bit about the bullpen real quick. I wanted to give you your take on Devin Williams here. So earlier this week, I saw the NJ.com article, and I saw some tweets come out right away about it, quoting the $45 million. And then I got a couple of direct messages from people that were like, oh my God, are you seeing this Devin Williams stuff? So that's why I jumped on and did a video. I'm glad it hasn't materialized because I don't want Devin Williams on this team. But I wanted to get your thoughts on the Devin Williams rumor. Apparently there's a lot of teams interested, and the Yankees are one of them.
I think it'd be crazy to sign him to the deal that they was reportedly out there. I don't know if that's true or not. Um, I think he's going to the Mets, honestly. I think just because of his relationship with David Stearns and their bullpen was just absolutely horrific. It's still New York, and I don't know if he can handle them, but I'm sorry. Just Met fans can say whatever they want. Being a Yankee is not the same thing as being a Met. It's just not. It's just not. It's the Yankee pinstripes are heavier than the pinstripes that got over in Queens. They just are. Um, Devin Williams, I would only re-sign Devin Williams just because he showed improvement at the end of the year. He did pitch well in the playoffs. The stuff looked better, but I would only offer him a 1-year deal. That is the only way that I'd bring back Devin Williams. I think that the adjustment was a bit harsh on him, especially to start the season. He had some absolute meltdown appearances. I just don't want to deal with that again. And I think
Yeah.
also optically for Yankee fans, they'd be like, oh my God, really? Especially if you're going to allocate like $45 million to a guy like that. Like I'm only giving $45 million to a closer of Emmanuel Clase. Too bad he threw it away for nothing. But
Here, I got your
another
guy.
name would be like an Andres Munoz or an Edwin Diaz. Like those are the only kinds of closers that you're giving that kind of money to. Mason Miller, sorry, but Devin Williams, like, give me a break. Like go to the Mets and F it up for them. I'm fine. So
And Edwin Diaz opted out of 20 plus million dollars a year. So that's
yeah.
I still think he would be a nice fit, but I'm not sure that the budget is there now that Trent Grisham has come back. Like that impacted the budget in a big way because you want to bring back Bellinger, you want to maybe bring back a couple of relief pieces, and I don't know if you can allocate that much money to Edwin Diaz. One guy I am interested in, Pete Fairbanks. This is a guy who has been just reliable. He just I've seen interviews with him and I've seen him pitch a bunch of times and he's got a slow heartbeat, right? He just doesn't seem he seems immune to pressure. And that's the type of pitcher that I really like. Any thoughts on Diaz and Fairbanks?
I'm more interested in Fairbanks than Diaz. I just feel like Diaz, if you look at his career, he's been phenomenal, but he has a very like 1 year he's good, 1 year he's not. Sort of like kickers in the NFL do. Um, and then the whole like World Baseball Classic thing when he like blew out his Achilles, that's not his fault. Obviously, that was like a freak thing, but I just do worry about him in the sense of I think is inconsistently good year to year. Sometimes he's unhittable and sometimes he's not. I think Fairbanks would be a little bit cheaper too. And like you said, the slow heartbeat. But I have to acknowledge the whole trumpets thing in the Bronx would be cool. And that's
Yeah.
it.
All right, let's talk a little bit about prospects here. Oops, that's the wrong button. Let me just pull this up here. Okay, top prospects. Is there anybody on this list that you're particularly excited about from the pitching standpoint? Like, I've made it clear I'm an Elmer Rodriguez Cruz fan. I like his stuff. Carlos Agranje, I haven't seen him pitch much, but from what I've seen, he's got an unbelievable fastball. Hampton coming back interests me. Lalane has always been interesting. There's a guy not on this list, Harrison Cohen, who has been brought up a number of times in the chat, who had a phenomenal year in the minor leagues. Ben Hess, Bryce Cunningham. Who is the one guy or one or two guys that you're really going to be keeping an eye on?
Legrand, definitely Legrand. Just the size alone. Usually taller pitchers are generally better. I don't know why. They have a longer stride. It's easier for them to throw hard. It's harder to pick up the ball too. I think Schlittler plays to his advantage too. The angle is harder to pick up when it's a guy who's 6'7" throwing it
Yeah.
versus a guy like Marcus Stroman. That's why Randy Johnson was so unbelievable. Legrand, though, definitely. I think he's still young. He's like 22, but as he continues to develop, he's a big guy. I think if he can really, again, like Schlittler, develop the secondary pitches, throw them for strikes, he'll be very good. He's developed rather quickly. And I think Ben Hess, same thing, another big dude, 6'5", 255. He's in Double-A. He was out of Alabama, I think, is where they drafted him out. So a college guy.
Yeah.
I think he's developing quickly too. So I think Legrand and Ben Hess, to me, would be the two guys that I'm interested in seeing how they do this coming season, to see how they progress. I think Elmer Rodriguez Cruz could definitely have an impact this season possibly coming out of the bullpen. The guy has pretty electric stuff, so I would expect him to have an impact, probably coming out of the pen or starting here and there and seeing. That might be a guy where, we talked about Cashman kind of building a bullpen out of nothing. Maybe Rodriguez Cruz turns out to be this awesome dude out of the bullpen. Who knows?
Maybe. And yeah. December 1st, I'm going to have Josh Norris from Baseball America on to talk about Yankees prospects, so tune in for that. Quick word from our friends over at Foul Territory real quick, and then we'll be back to wrap it up as we head off towards Thanksgiving. Back in 60 seconds.
Holiday shopping season is here, and we have you covered from head to toe.
Let's talk about an area that's not quite close to the toes. Let's get crazy with this holiday season. Yeah, that's MeUndies I'm spinning around, but the holiday season, now you can get MeUndies with some holiday prints on them.
That's right, ridiculously soft fabric holiday prints, matching holiday prints with your special person, or you can coordinate PJs for the family photo. And right now you can get up to 50% off with the code FOUL. We rock MeUndies. You should too. We're talking over 30 million pairs sold. Knock out all your holiday gifting needs today with MeUndies to get exclusive holiday deals up to, yep, I said it, 50% off. Go to MeUndies.com/foul and enter promo code FOUL. That's MEUNDIES.com/FOUL. Promo code FOUL for up to 50% off.
I do have a couple of pairs of those MeUndies, and I must say they are quite comfortable. They are quite comfortable. Oh, yeah? So, all right, TK, what's your favorite Thanksgiving dish there? What's your thing?
I mean, I enjoy cornbread, and I enjoy stuffing, and classic mashed potatoes. But growing up, this is going to be a little bit weird for you guys out there. Thanksgiving was never a huge thing in my house because of two reasons. One, my mom's birthday is on Thanksgiving this year. It's the 27th, and it usually falls on her birthday. And the second thing is that my father's allergic to all poultry, meaning chicken and turkey. So Thanksgiving for me growing up just wasn't a huge thing, especially in French culture. My mom being from France, it's like not a thing at all. It was always about Christmas Eve dinner was much more the thing. So I have a little something, but it was never like that big of a deal for me growing up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been a fan of turkey. I like deli sliced turkey, but I'm not much of like, cutting it off the bird. I just don't dig it. Just not my thing. I'm more of a pasta guy. So my wife's family usually does, lasagna, for Thanksgiving. So that's fun. Deviled eggs. That's my thing. I love deviled eggs. I mean, I'll eat 100 of them and I'll fart for days. Man. It's amazing. All right, TK. Thanks again. Thanks to everybody who watched and tuned in. I'll be back hopefully with a new studio setup here in a couple of days after Thanksgiving. I'm gonna probably do a video on Friday. And release it at some point in the evening. But until then, have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and we will see you when we see you. Take it easy, TK. If you enjoyed this content, please hit that like button and subscribe. Check out NYYDesigns.shop for some great merch. Support our sponsors. It helps keep the show going. And you can find us on all major audio platforms, so be sure to subscribe there too. But most importantly, come back again soon. We'll see you next time.